Hey, Cabs.
Hey, Tawana. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. We are back. This is what the last time we did a live was last year.
The last time we did a live was last year, right after the fires. We did our recap. So we closed the books on 2023, and now we are here for 2024, kicking off the new year, answering some questions about something that we have teased for quite some months now, about the new season and the process surrounding nominations. As you guys know, we are changing the process for submissions a little bit. So we are here to talk about that and answer some of the questions that we've gotten.
So, one of the questions that people have asked me, when do you guys start production? We start production right after the show is over. So we are officially in production mode. So first of all, good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to us. We are back to talk to you guys. We did talk about a little bit after the show was over. I did a few lives and interviews announcing that our submission guidelines were going to be updated. I like to use the term updated, not necessarily changed. There's some updates into how we are doing our submissions going forward. Well, I should say for 2024. So happy New Year. And we're going to get into it because you guys, as soon as I dropped the post, the questions were like boom, 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 boom. And I get you guys didn't want to ask it on the page. Some people did, some people did not. You guys decided to send us messages and send birds, and however you decided to send your messages, we got them. And we are happy to answer any and all your questions. So we jotted down a few. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Phyllis. Hey, Phil. Hey, Phil. Hey, Phyllis. Hey, Brittany. um, so we jotted down a few of the questions that we received after putting up the post about our submission guidelines being updated. I'll turn the reins over to Gabby to start asking some of your questions. I will do my best to answer them as clear as possible. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section, and we will be more than happy to answer those questions for you because we want to make sure that people understand what the process is going forward and that you guys are ready when we open up the submissions in a few weeks.
Couple
Yes,
weeks.
I said a few weeks. Good evening, Kim. So I'll turn it over to Gabby, and let's get this test going.
Yeah, let's get it started. I mean, I think the first thing that we need to talk about is why and how we're changing the nomination process. So I want to start first with the why because that really plays into everything that we do.
Right. So the why behind us updating our submission guidelines. So over this is going to be 5 years for us. And over the years, what we have noticed with getting the submissions, and I've been vocal about this year after year after year, and it's time to do something about it. The problems that we have been facing with submissions is that a lot of people are submitting people in categories that they don't belong in. So just because your friend did a photo shoot, hey Nika, just because your friend did a photo shoot, you wanted to submit them for, outstanding model, when in all actuality they are not really a model. Or we are submitting people in photography categories and they're not really a photographer. Or the best one yet to come, people are just going down the line and just submitting their friends in every single category, and you're doing your friends and your colleagues an injustice because we don't count those. It is not our responsibility to go through and see which categories your colleagues or whoever you nominate belong in. So if you are nominating somebody for outstanding photographer, then make sure you are putting them in that category. Make sure you are also providing contact information for them as well. So that was one of the biggest obstacles that we faced in these submissions, and we had to figure out how are we going to update this. How are we going to make it fair for everybody going forward to make sure that people are getting recognized? People who actually want to submit to be in these categories. So that is really the why behind us updating and kind of refreshing the guidelines.
No, that makes a lot of sense. We just want to make sure that everybody is in the category that they should be in, which is why we are updating this process to now be what?
Updated. Fair. So a lot of things. But yeah, I'm excited about it. It is going to require people to do a little bit of work. Um, but outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. Those are the categories. You should be ready for this. You should be ready for it. So, next question, please.
So the next question really is, how are we changing the process? So let's talk about what the previous process was and then discuss what updates we're making, because we aren't completely doing away with the old process. We are adding to it and sort of refining the parts of the old process that worked, that people liked, and then also adding on this new piece to it. So can you talk a little bit about both pieces?
Sure. Hey, Tanisha. So the way we used to do it, the way everybody was used to it, is we opened up the submissions and people would fill out the poll, and you would just put who you would nominate in and where. And then we will get that information, and we'll jot it down. We'll have to do some background search on it to make sure that you actually qualify to be in this category. Like, there's a whole process behind that right there. But that was the initial nomination process. Just completed the poll. We did the rest. Now, the way we are doing it going forward, we're keeping some of the new, some of the old, and adding some new. So this is the part that you're going to want to pay attention to. The first question is, can you still nominate other people? We went back and forth with this. Initially, it was no, you had to nominate yourself. But we heard your cries. And the new process is going to consist of this. It'll still be, there's going to be an application process. And the application is pretty much the poll that you were completing before, but there's more information. So, part one to that, if you are nominating someone else in a category, you would have to fill out the poll, and you would put the person's name, which category you are nominating them for, and their contact information. What we will do with that is we are going to contact the person that you nominated and let them know, hey, you were nominated by your peers. It could be industry professionals, it could be peers. We're using the word peers, okay? We're not telling you exactly who nominated you. We're just going to tell you that you were nominated by your peers for this particular category. And then we're going to send you the information on what you'll need to submit to us. Now, we'll get to that part. If you are nominating yourself, same thing. You are going to put your information, you're going to put your contact information, and which category you are submitting yourself for, or you're nominating yourself for. Once we get back all the information, we're going to follow up with the people who qualify to be in these particular categories, and we're going to tell you what the next steps are, what you are going to need to submit to us. That's what the initial nomination application is going to look like.
That's good. And I think it's important to know that the person who submits on your behalf is not responsible for the application process. Like all they are doing is nominating you and providing us with your contact information to follow up with you when you make it to the next round and say, you've been nominated, you've been recommended for nomination, please move forward in this process. So it's not on them to know all the information that would prove your eligibility. It is really just them nominating you much in the same way that they did before, but it just will require a little bit more legwork from the nominee to move forward in the
Yeah,
process.
absolutely. And just like, when I was saying before, just make sure that you are nominating people in the right category. Because if you nominate somebody in the incorrect category, we are not going to then reach out to this nominee and say, hey, somebody nominated you, but they nominated you for the wrong category. What do you do again? We're not going to do that.
Not at all.
Not at all. So that's what that's the short answer to that. There's going to be a longer answer to that on what exactly you need to submit. But what's the next question before I go into that?
So let's talk about the timeline. Let's talk about when nominations open and where we go from there.
So I'm actually going to share this timeline that I put together. I'm pretty proud of this timeline.
It's a good little document.
I'm going to pull this up because this is actually going to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have submitted um, after this. So let me just share this. This is the nomination timeline. So when I say the nominations are going to start in a few weeks, nominations this year, we're starting early because it's a longer process. The initial nominations are going to start on February 5th. That's when it opened. So we're giving you guys a little bit of time to actually, because we know this is a new process, an updated process, I should say. So we're going to give you guys a little bit of time to do this. So the initial nominations, which is going to be the application itself, you would have to complete the application just as I explained before. And then you're going to submit it to us. You have until the 23rd at midnight Eastern Standard Time to complete the application. When I say application, please do not think that this is like 50 questions. It is not. They are very short questions. And we give people time because we know that people are going to be nominated. Multiple people are going to be nominated the same person over and over again, and that's completely fine. You're not going to get multiple emails on this. We'll just keep track of it. You'll get one email that you were nominated for this particular category. And then we're going to move on to March 5th. We gave ourselves a little time in between to kind of organize all the information. So you will receive an email on what you have to submit to us. During this process, you'll have to, okay, now here we go. Because each of the categories are a little bit different. So I will start with, let's start with, pick a category, any category.
Model.
I knew you were going to say that. So let's go to the model categories. So in the model categories, this is going to apply to emerging big and tall, outstanding big and tall, emerging plus model, and outstanding plus model. Yep. This is going to apply to all of those. Now the qualifications are going to remain the same. For the qualifications for emerging, up to 7 years. If you have been modeling for up to 7 years, you go, no matter how much work you have done in this 7 years, because I know that was a lot of people said that. Yeah, I've done X, Y, and Z. I've signed with 10 agencies. You have been modeling for up to 7 years. You go in the emerging category. If you have been modeling for more than 7 years, you will go in outstanding model. So that stays the same as it has usually been. But I'm not going to go through everything with you. I'm going to just give you some examples of some of the things that we are going to be asking of you. And you will get this information before March 1st so that you have time to put all this stuff together. We will have this stuff on our website. I definitely encourage you, once this stuff goes live, to really jot down. If you know what categories you belong in, start getting this information ready. You can nominate yourself. Don't worry, there's no shame in nominating yourself. We are not going to tell the world that you nominated yourself. We don't care. But just make sure that you jot this stuff down. So it's going to be housed on our website. It's not on our website yet, but it will be on our website. So, and my eyes are going over here because I have two screens. So excuse me. So the initial application for this is between February 5th and February 23rd. We're going to ask you for your name, your address, your email address, your website. Yes, we are still asking for websites. And then I'm going to backtrack a little bit when on the websites. So we are a little bit lenient with the websites this year. Yes, you do have to have a website. One of the reasons why we also changed this up is because we know that people don't really update their website. There's a lot of stuff missing from the website. People don't put everything that they have done on the website either. So as long as you have a website, a landing page that we can clearly see what your profession is, that is what we are asking for. You guys, if you have not, we have been saying this for 5 years now. If you still have not started your website, at the very least, complete an About Me page so we know who you are and what you do. Um, and then how long you have been in your respective fields. That's important as well because we have to be able to verify that. And of course, your social media channels. That's the initial process. The content from March 4th to the 22nd that you are going to have to submit for the model categories. We're going to ask you for your professional portfolio. That professional portfolio is going to consist of 15 high quality images. And you have to show some versatility. They have to be from different shoots. Don't send us 15 images from the same shoot. And then also keep in mind that you are going to be judged by the committee, the voting committee. You are going to be judged by what you submit to us. You are not going to be judged by what you did over the last 20 years. You have to submit to the committee your best work because that is what they are going to go off. If you send us everything except for your Macy's campaign, we cannot go by your Macy's campaign. It doesn't matter if we know you or not. Submit exactly what it is that you want to be judged on. Your best work. So that's 15 images. We are also going to ask you for your bio. I have been doing QSM now going on 13 years. 13 years I have been saying, make sure you have a bio. You guys, get a bio. Go into Chat GPT and ask Chat to write you a bio. Write a bio, y'all. So we are going to ask you for your bio, so I'm going to read this off, which is a detailed biography highlighting your career achievements, experiences, and contributions to your respective industry. There's more, but I told you I wasn't going to read all of this. This stuff will be on the website. We are also going to ask you for any achievements and recognitions that you have received. Make sure you submit that to us as well. Any media presence that you have had, if you've been featured in any media, you have to submit that to us as well. And of course, your headshot. There's more, but I'm not going to read everything off to you because I want to go through a couple of these categories. Let's go to pick one. Pick one. Only one. Hey, Monique.
Let's go to boutique.
Boutique. How did I know you were going to say this? Like I'm reading your mind.
It's a Virgo thing.
So the best boutique, you're going to complete the application for this as well. For the best boutique, we are going to ask for testimonies and reviews. Get those together. You have customers. Reach out to them and ask them to write them for you. We are going to, hey Kia, we are going to ask you any community engagement that you have done. So you're going to give us a list of any events, pop-up shops, fashion shows, anything that you have done. Engage in social media posts and campaigns that your boutique have done. Any achievements and recognitions, media presence, logo, headshot, all that stuff. You get where I'm going. So there's a number of things that you have to submit for each. We're not asking you for a whole lot. We're not asking you for anything that you do not already have. Again, this stuff is going to be on a website for you. We'll do one more. Pick one, anyone.
Photographer.
I knew you were going to say that. It was right here. um, So outstanding photographer, again, the initial nominations, we're going to ask you for this stuff. So if you're nominating someone else, you're going to have to complete this as well. But you should know this person's information if you are nominating, which is the name, their email address, contact information. We cannot email them and let them know that you nominated them if you don't give us the email address. So feel free to reach out to them and say, hey, I want to nominate you for this award. Can I have your email address? We are going to ask for their website as well, social media pages, and how long they have been doing whatever it is that they've been doing. Photography, it says here. You should know these things because you are nominating them because you think that they are an outstanding photographer. So you should know this stuff. Hey, Brittany. We are also going, so once you get to March, this content that you are going to have to submit to us as a photographer, this is going to be on the photographer, the nominee who's going to submit this information. You cannot submit it on behalf of somebody else. This is all you right here. We are going to ask you for a portfolio submission, which much like the model submission, which is going to be 15 high resolution images of your work as a photographer. Some versatility, not everything from the same shoot. You are going to want to dig into maybe any editorials that you have done, any headshot sessions, make it and cover, the different areas of photography that you do as well. We are also going to ask you, the photographer, for a personal statement, which is a written statement addressing your unique approach to photography for the plus community, specific examples of how your work has demonstrated creativity, diversity, and innovation. Any recognition and awards that you've received, any brand collaborations, media presence, headshot, testimonials. Again, we're not asking you for stuff that you don't already have. And if you don't have it, it's January 11th. You have until March 4th to get this stuff together. Once again, we're going to put it on our website. So that is some examples of some of the content submissions that we are asking for from each category. And there are 14 categories. So question is, if someone wants to nominate me in multiple categories, am I going to have to submit for each category? Absolutely. You are. So when I say it's going to require a little bit of work from you, it's going to require a little bit of work from you, because last year our submission guidelines, it was just very broad. We had a committee set aside who was doing all of this work, and if we could not find the campaigns that you did because you didn't put it on social media and you didn't put it on your website, it's unfair, right? Because that's what a lot of people's complaint was. It was unfair because I did all this work, but we can't find it. So now we're going to ask you to submit it to us. So in I'm looking through when I created this timeline and then compared it to a lot of the questions. I already knew, that's why I threw this up. This is going to take care of a lot of your questions. And again, you guys, if you have questions, just feel free to jot them down. Happy to answer them. How one of the questions that people asked was how our voting is going to work, much like it worked in the past. Once we receive all of the information, you see there is a gap between when our content submissions close, which is on March 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, until public voting starts in August, April, the other A, April 8th. So there is a little bit of gap there because it's going to give us time to actually put all this information together. So we're going to ask everybody to submit all of this stuff either by WeTransfer. Just think of this as a magazine submission. You know, if you submitting to a magazine, you create a Dropbox, a Google Drive, whatever, and you send all this stuff at one time. That's what we're going to ask you to do. So please don't send multiple emails because we get hundreds of emails. I think last year, we probably got about 1,400 nominations last year.
Mhm.
So just convert that into emails. Don't send multiple emails because your stuff is going to get lost. Wait until you have all your stuff together and then send it. Is there a time frame, date range of work that has to be submitted? For instance, March 23rd. So here is the difference between this year and last year. Hi, Sean, and hi, Nyla. So here's the difference between what we did in previous years to now. So in previous years, we were asking you to submit from the last 12 months, right? You can go back up to 3 years with this because you have to submit exactly what you want the committee to judge you on. So we get the C word has really put a damper on stuff. We're coming out of pandemic worlds and going back in, dipping out so in and out of the C word, um, that we won't say. But so we're going to expand that. Up to 3 years of work, you can submit for voting to us. I hope that answered your question. So the way the voting is going to work is going to work much like we did before. Um, we are going to ask, yes, WeTransfer. I like when WeTransfer too. Just remember, if you're using a free one, I think it's up to 2 gigs. But but we are keeping the public involved in our voting process. This was another thing that we kind of went back and forth with. Do we leave it all up to the committee? We don't want to do that. So because it's an industry event, we want the industry to get involved. So this is where your voice will count. So it's going to be as it was in previous years. The public is going to vote on the nominees. If you don't see your name on the nomination ballot, it is because one, you did not submit all the information that we asked you for. We cannot go back and forth with 1,400 plus nominees to say, hey, you forgot to submit your headshot. I need y'all to submit this. Remember, these are outstanding categories, which means that you are outstanding in your field and you already know how to follow instructions. So create a checklist. I even do you one better. For each of them, I will have a checklist. Before you hit submit, did you submit this, this, and this? Okay. So I trust that you're going to read that checklist. I do the same thing with the magazine. If you go in our submission guidelines, it's the same thing. Submit. So the public will vote. The top 4 nominees who have the highest votes will go up to our voting committee. You guys will go in front of the voting committee for each category. The voting committee is going to place their votes there, and then that is where the winner is chosen. Now, remember, the voting committee does not know who won. The only people who knows, and my team hates this, but it is what it is. The only people who know who won is me, the company that the trophy is ordered from, and Phil, which is probably a month before the show even starts when we finish the presentations. Those are the only people. Everybody else on the team, everybody else finds out the day of. The voting committee, everybody finds out the day of. So then fast forward, announcement of the final nominee announcements will happen on April 29th. Don't hold me to these dates. I might be 1 or 2 dates off because whatever reason, don't hold
Life
me to
be
the
life.
exact dates. Once I put them on the website, you'll know the exact date. I mean, it may be off by 1 or 2 days, but this is pretty much what the timeline is going to be. Um, will you guys know? Will the final nominees know before we do the announcements? Yes, you will. We will tell you before we announce it to the world that you are a final nominee. So it's only 4 people from each category. Um, Hold on, Kia. It's only 4 people, unless it's a tie. We don't break ties. Unless it's a tie, it's 4 people per category. So between the initial application process and content submission, how are the first round nominees selected? If you belong in that category, if you submitted everything that you are supposed to be, that's how you are selected. There's not a The only elimination process is if you did not belong in that category and you were put in that category, or you did not submit all the information that we asked you for. That's the only way you're eliminated from going into the next round. Out of initial nominations, which is the applications, into the content submission. We just submit everything that we asked you to. We asked you to submit 15 high resolution images. Don't submit 14. If we ask you to do submit versatility, do not submit 15 from the same shoe. Because remember, you are going up against a whole lot of other people. So you want to put forth your best work. And I hope that makes sense. Now, does anybody else have any other questions, or any other questions that I did not answer? I'm going to take this down so we can be in front and center on the screen. Were there any other questions submitted that I did not answer? No? That was for you, Gabs.
I, I thought we were still asking the audience. I mean, you went through everything that we needed to go through. I think what people really wanted to know was what happens after they submit the nomination and when they were going to know if they made it to the next round. Um, so I think in terms of what we wanted to cover, um, we pretty much did that. I just want to stress, yes, Monique, follow directions, submit the things that we tell you to submit. There just won't be a whole lot of back and forth this year. Um, we are trying to make this as easy as possible to get the information that we need to present you correctly to the voting committee, without having to do a whole lot of digging. And this
Yeah,
really gives you the opportunity to be judged on the work that you want to be judged on, rather than what's out there and easily accessible for people to see online. If there's a project that hasn't been released or widely circulated, you have the opportunity to present that to in front of the committee. So we are really just trying to make this as easy as possible for everyone. I know it seems like a lot of legwork in the beginning, but I think once you get the hang of it and really look back on your portfolio, you will see that it will be easy to get to the required submission criteria.
absolutely. So, and Kia, I appreciate that because we really took into consideration everything that people said, everything that people wanted to see. We really took all that into consideration and wanted to make the event. This is year 5 for us. So we want to elevate the event, kind of raise the bar and be fair at the same time. So for the people who don't want to nominate themselves, you can get somebody else to do it for you. Just know that the submission process is all on you. So we will be updating our website because it's year 5 elevation. We had to come out with a whole new look. That's going to happen eventually. And all of this information will be on our website. We will try to communicate with people as much as possible, understanding that, you know, um, hey Jojo, understanding that everybody's not going to be able to see this live right now. So hopefully you'll go back and you will review it. Hopefully you guys will share it out as well. Um, and so one of the questions were image quality, right? So I I would say this. Just think of this process as you are submitting to a publication. Remember, this is an awards ceremony. So your images should be high quality. I'm not asking you to send me your images at 600 dpi. Please don't. I'm not printing it on a billboard, but the images should not be blurry. They should be very clear, very crisp. Do not send me no images that are stretched out. Um, these are all the things that we are going to take into consideration. It's not just your work, it's did you follow the instructions? What were the quality of the content that you submitted? Or for God's sake, please do not send me no naked photos. Let me put that. Let me go ahead and put that in the guidelines. Nudity is not allowed. Okay, so we are asking for fashion images, and I'm saying I understand people look at nudity as a piece of art, and that's completely fine. Respect it, but I don't want to look at naked pictures. So I respectfully ask that you not do not submit naked pictures. I feel like I have to say that. Um, and just be versatile. If you want to submit, I'm going to say this as well. If boudoir is part of your portfolio, that is fine. Let's just be tasteful. Imagine this: you are at the award ceremony. Some of the work that you submit to us during the nomination process is going to be shown on the screen at the award ceremony if you happen to make it to the final 4. Imagine your kids sitting in the audience. Do you want them to see it? Okay. If the answer is no, don't submit it. That's what I will say. And I hope that was clear as possible. So Kia, so models shouldn't submit boudoir. I hope I answered. Okay, I answered that question. Um,
But just to recap what you said, it should be tasteful.
but absolutely, absolutely, very tasteful. If you don't want your babies to see it, then don't send it to us. That's what I will ask. But again, this is year 5 for us. This is elevation, and so I've always been vocal about this. My number one goal when I started the Fires, the Full Figure Industry Awards, my goal was to be a part of the official award season. Yes, I want to be televised. I'm putting this out in the atmosphere. Somebody tell Tyler to call me because I'm telling you, Tyler needs the Fires on his network. But that is the goal. So when you submit, I want you to keep that in mind. You are a part of this process for us. You are a part of the elevation process. So make sure you are digging deep and pulling out your best work, please. No screenshots, please. The only screenshots, and there is a category, I think it might be content creator, where we list what you have to submit. And I think you have to submit something with a screenshot, maybe, but I will politely ask, do not submit screenshot images either. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I hope I was clear in what our updated submission guidelines are going to look like going forward. If nobody else has any other questions, Gabs, did I answer everything?
I think you answered everything that we wanted to talk about. Of course, we need to talk about, the general timeline of the show and, when tickets are going to open and when the show is, so people can put it on their calendars and do all of the necessary prep, book their hotel rooms, book their makeup artists, get those designers ready.
So, what I will tell you, I'm not going to announce ticket sales yet because I'm not. We don't release ticket sales until all of the nominees and the honorees are announced. Because I don't want anybody to buy a ticket and they become a nominee. I don't want to do that. There's a lot of back and forth with that. Let me give you back your money. I don't want to do that. So once everything is announced with the honorees and the nominees, then we will announce ticket sales. The show itself is on November 2nd. It's going to be at the same location if you were there last year in Jamaica, Queens. Yes, Jamaica Performing Arts Center. I love it. Phil be on it. Um, Same timeline. If you were there last year, expect the same thing, elevated. Um, what else was I was supposed to answer? I was supposed to answer something else. Oh yes, the also the room blocks will open soon. I'm just waiting back to hear back from the hotel. So we'll have that, the room blocks. Make sure your make you reach out to your makeup artist now. I say this every year, and every year somebody is emailing me or messaging me a week before the event and asking me, can you recommend a makeup artist? Everybody is booked. Makeup artists in New York get booked quick with the fires. My makeup artist was booked from last year. And Gabby, you know that.
Mm.
My makeup artist was booked once I got my makeup done last year. Reach out to makeup artists and start booking your makeup artists. Reach out to your designers and start with your clothing. The turn up afterwards. Listen, listen. What happened in
No comment.
BBQ will stay in BBQs. But it is, and we have a ball. So if you have never attended the Full Figure Industry Awards, let year 5 be the year that you do come. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. Stop playing with these makeup artists, the hairstylists as well. Don't forget your hair, because Nathaniel will tell you, don't come in here with everything done and your hair is a mess. So make sure you book your hairstylist as well. This year, I am not linking nobody up with makeup artists. I will be kind enough to put up the post that I put up every year. Makeup artists, drop your links and book them. Stop playing. Henny wings and sleep. Okay. There's a lot to be said with that but we're not gonna go there. I hope to see you guys on November 2nd at the Jamaica Performing Arts Center. And if you guys have any questions about the submission process, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am happy to walk you through the process. I do not mind. I just want to make sure that everybody understands and everybody knows what's going on. So, Kia, I'm not saying a word, honey. Not a word. If it ain't no pictures or videos, it didn't happen. So, Gabs, I'll let you close out. Thank you guys for tuning into this. Make sure you share this. We're going to put up some reels of some important information on social as well. And just try to really, um, you know, hammering this in people's heads so that they understand that the process is being updated.
Absolutely. Thank you guys again for joining us tonight. Share this with your network, share this with your industry friends so that they can know and they can be ready. Again, submissions open in just a few weeks. So if you are planning to submit yourself, start getting some of that stuff together. If you're planning to submit someone else, start reaching out to them and getting their contact information so that you can just be ready to go, because the sooner that you get the information to us, the sooner we can do our initial intake and then get something out to them, letting them know that, hey, this is the criteria that you are required to use to submit. And they will actually have a longer time period to get all of that stuff together the sooner that you get it in on their behalf. And if you're doing it for yourself, you have a longer time to get it together the sooner that you get it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So do not delay. Don't be intimidated by this process. You know, send an email, reaching out to the team if you need any type of help or clarification on the process, the new guidelines. The team will be happy to help you. We don't want this to be we don't want this to be a hindrance to submitting. I don't want is people to feel hindered by this process and discouraged and not submit. It really it's really streamlined.
Yeah.
It looks more intimidating than it actually is. Reach out for help, and we will make sure that you're successful.
Two things I want to add is the first thing is remember, if you do not have a website, you have until February 3rd to create a website. It doesn't take long.
At
Get
all.
you a website. And then the second thing is, yes, we are accepting sponsorships. We are looking for brand partnerships. So if you are looking to partner with the Full Finger Industry Awards, definitely do reach out to me and, let's talk. Let's talk. So I have that is it. Let your work speak for itself. That is you know what? That's it. The live is over. Period. I definitely appreciate everybody's time. And I'm not gonna prolong this good night. I hate to leave y'all, but I gotta go. Good night, everybody, and thanks for
Good
tuning in.
night.
Thanks, Gabs.